Okay, I'm going to demonstrate how to place a bandage on a limb. Depending on what you're bandaging, whether it's a wound, a fracture, stabilizing a joint, whatever the case may be, you're going to do it basically the same way. The only thing that you would change is you would add a splint if you're dealing with a fracture or something like that, and we can talk about that in other videos. But if it was a wound, I want to start with a non-absorbent layer. So we can pretend that there's a wound on this dog. Actually, first, we're going to apply our stirrups. So I make stirrups. I've already bent the bottom part down to make a little tab. And now I'll put this on either side, the lateral and the medial aspect of this limb. And this is going to help this bandage from slipping down once it's applied. So 2 stirrups, and then I'm going to place my non-absorbent pad over this imaginary wound. And then my contact layer is going to start right where that non-absorbent pad is to kind of keep that in place. But we're going to go down on the limb all the way to the tips of the toes, covering 50% of the previous layer. So here's the previous layer. I'm going to do 50% there, 50% there, and all the way up, depending on how big this bandage is going to be. We're going to continue that technique to not only keep this bandage nice and in place so it doesn't slip, but it also prevents pressure sores and things like that when applying a bandage. Next up is rolled gauze. This is going to keep this layer in place. You can add a little bit of tension onto this layer. You almost have to keep it nice and firm. If you do it too loose, it will cause what's called like a Michelin effect, so a lot of bunching in the material. Again, I'm still doing 50% coverage on this layer as well. Let me grab some scissors. I'm going to cut that layer off. And then I'm going to do a little twist in each of the stirrups so that it adheres to the secondary layer. And this will keep this bandage from sliding down ideally. And then you can start with your outer layer, the vet wrap. Again, all the way down to the toes. If you don't come all the way down to the toes, you can cause a tourniquet effect. And worst case scenario, that can cause lack of blood flow to the distal limb, which may lead to needing amputation or tissue death. And then just the final extra security is adding some Elasticon or tape to the top of the bandage.